This month, my goal in Portfolio 2 was to complete the Creating an Editorial Calendar tutorial on LinkedIn, design an editorial calendar of my own, and develop a style guide for a pre-existing or fictitious fashion brand. At least, that was the original plan, but after getting the okay from my instructor, I felt comfortable proceeding with my actual career aspiration, to work for a high-end cannabis brand. Still, I struggled to come up with a hypothetical brand with which to base my style guide, so I used my initials, which I guess technically could be applied to a brand someday. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. To design my own logo, I started off by compiling a very messy and unorganized mood board in Illustrator with reference images I found on Pinterest. As you can see here, I went through about a million different draft logos and concepts before I decided on this one. Then I found a simple collage template in Photoshop where I chose a color scheme, color hierarchy, brand patterns, secondary logos, and a logo submark, which, as you can see here, I used the feather from the original logo for that. I also added a more specific mood board to the brand that I was trying to emulate as well. Once I finished the collage, I decided it wasn't good enough and found another style guide template on Adobe Stock that was a little bit more in-depth and professional looking. Because this brand was a startup, I chose to opt out of some of the brand specifics like logo spacing that were included. After I transferred my assets from the Photoshop collage to the InDesign template, I exported it as a PDF. I ended up being very pleased with how my style guide turned out. I thought it was very cohesive and representative of the brand that I was trying to convey. Next up on the list was the editorial calendar. The first step in creating my calendar was figuring out which tool I wanted to use. There are about 1,000,001 sites listed for this purpose on the internet, but I eventually decided to use Monday.com. I actually ended up creating two calendars, the first being my original fashion brand concept, which ended up being more of a test run for me, as it mainly served the purpose of getting me comfortable with Monday's interface and features. The second one I created was more consistent with my brand style guide. The content I populated my calendar with was a combination of e-blasts I had previously received from other cannabis companies, as well as several of my own pitch ideas. Once I entered those in, I started entering the channel each pitch would be promoted under. As you can see here, I have a variety of e-blast campaigns, Snapchat and Instagram content, as well as blog posts. After deciding which channel each pitch would fall under, I further classified my pitch ideas into categories. We have guides, stories, tips and tricks, and educational content. The rest of the process was left up to a lot of imagination, as obviously I don't have a team of writers, designers, or publishers with which to assign specific posts or update their status. While I am overall satisfied with the end result of this calendar, I kind of wish it was more cohesive with the look and feel of my style guide, but I could not for the life of me think of a way to display all of this information in a way that was aesthetically pleasing or went along with my brand's color scheme. I think in the future, I will incorporate a second calendar that only has the content and publishing date as an additional page of the style guide, and reserve the more technical version for company purposes only. Now that I have successfully completed my goal for the month, I plan to leverage these hypothetical brand assets by adding them to my portfolio. I also plan to utilize the design skills I worked on and flex my creative muscles by creating style guides more often in the future. It took me a lot longer than I would have preferred to conceptualize all of the individual components that went into these deliverables. I figure if I'm going to be a content manager, I need to be able to dish out ideas and projects like this on a regular basis. But overall, I definitely am pleased with the performance and outcome of my work this month. I feel like I stepped out of my comfort zone and was able to apply knowledge I gained from previous courses to this portfolio module as well. I can honestly say I'm excited for my future classes and look forward to seeing how my experience continues to culminate as I advance that much further towards my educational and professional aspirations.